For just about 4 years, Chase Hancock was working with one of the best wholesalers in maybe not even just California, but the nation. And now he is going and doing it on his own. He woke up at the age of 25 and said, I need to go do bigger things on my own, do it for myself. And he's building an empire of cash flow in a lot of different ways. We're talking about it with him here on the Fearless Investor Podcast. Hey everyone, welcome into the Fearless Investor Podcast. You're listening to me, Kyle Stanley, as always, and I want to really encourage you, go to fearlesskyle.com and download our Airbnb profit calculator. Airbnb is huge right now, guys. People are jumping in left and right. They're realizing that COVID just could not stop this machine from producing income. And so it's an exciting time to be getting into Airbnb and short-term rentals. And the best way to be able to get started is to go to our website, fearlesskyle.com, download that profit calculator, and heck, even go check out a few of our other resources under our Airbnb tab, and you're going to find that you have some ways to be able to learn this business and get it off the ground. Now, let's get to it with Chase Hancock. He's a Fresno native. You know, I love talking to some of the natives here in my hometown, but 25 years old, started in real estate right around 20, 21 years old. And he started with the same way that a lot of people did with the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book. And he went on to, really just finding a great person to partner with who has been on our show before, Matt Garabedian. And Matt taught him the ropes and eventually basically made him like the business owner of Matt's business. And now, Chase is going and doing it on his own, and he's doing big things and he's learning a ton. And I really wanted to bring him in today so that you could get past that fear of going and just jumping into real estate or going and doing something on your own, because Chase was able to do that. And he was able to thwart a lot of the fears that he had about jumping in on his own. And so that's what I hope the big takeaway is for you here today. Let's get to it with Chase Hancock. Hey, welcome in. We've got Chase Hancock, another Fresno native here on the show, and just 25 years old. This guy is killing it in real estate. Excited to have Chase on the line here. Thanks for being with us, man.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle. Excited to be here.
All right, cool. So let's start with my favorite question. What's your most interesting real estate investing story? You've been actually doing this for a while, even though you're only 25 years old. You've been doing a number of calls for yourself and for others. Anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, so, a lot of it is learning lessons, over the years. One of them was there was a recent time I went to this property. It had been vacant for a little while. And I just walked in, and I walked into a bedroom, and I started feeling like a tickle on my leg.
Oh, no.
And I looked down, and they're just covered in fleas, bouncing around on me. And so, yeah, we got out of there real quick. And next time I'm going on any appointment, I'm going to bring some bug spray, some like off or something, because you need to keep that in your car. So that was a recent one.
The things that you don't think about when you're going to a property.
Right.
I'm bringing a weapon or something in some of these properties, but to fight off bugs, you don't really think about that.
Yeah, you need to.
Well, cool, man. So you've got a really interesting story, and the reason I wanted to bring you on today is because you've got one of those stories of doing things with an expert and then breaking off and now starting to do it on your own, which I think is just such a great route to go. But kind of take us back. Like, when did you start in real estate? How did you get started? And just give us the whole evolution of where you're at today as well.
Yeah. So, 5 years ago, like a lot of people, I read a book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. A lot of people say the same thing. Introduced me to real estate. Long story short, I started doing some research. I ended up on Bigger Pockets, like a lot of people. Learned about wholesaling. And to keep it brief, I eventually decided to just jump in and try it. Didn't know anything. My phone started ringing, and I was scared. I was like, I didn't know what to do, what to say. But through that, I met a gentleman in my local market, Matt, and he took me under his wing and kind of just started teaching me. And I became his acquisition guy, COO, started handling everything. And that was pretty much my first 3-4 years in real estate. And I've just been doing acquisitions and handling everything ever since. And that's just kind of how I got catapulted into it. So I kind of put behind trying to do it on my own, and I said, why not team up with someone that's been doing it for a while, and learn. And Rich Dad Poor Dad, one thing they said was go work for free. Well, luckily, I'd made decent money learning
Yeah.
the whole business. So then, yeah.
And that's awesome too. I mean, you didn't have to go to college for this and go. Not only does Rich Dad Poor Dad say, go do it for free, but we think about it from a college standpoint and from a education standpoint. We think about like, oh, going and paying for an education. You got
Hmm.
paid for an education. That's a pretty cool way to
Right.
look at it, right?
Exactly. No debt. No coming out of school with debt. I mean, I got paid to learn pretty much.
That's awesome. So what were the things that you were doing for Matt in those 3 to 4 years? You said acquisitions manager, you said COO. What does a day in the life look like for that?
Well, at the time, in the very beginning, it was just acquisitions, going on appointments, blocking up contracts, and it just kind of graduated into handling marketing and handling like lead flow, and then eventually training virtual assistants and other pieces of the business. I was going on a lot of like seminars, going on a lot of like meetups in different states and cities to connect with people and kind of learn more about like building out systems and processes and really just running a business, right? Everything besides acquisitions, I kind of started to do. And then I just kind of became I just started doing everything really. So acquisitions, like I said, the marketing, just making sure everything was held together.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
So you not only were an employee of the business, but you literally learned how to run the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Cool. So, and you were with him for 3 or 4 years. Is that what you said?
Yeah, about 4 years. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, what was the moment when you were like, hey, maybe I need to just do this on my own?
Yeah, that was a big moment. It took time. It didn't happen overnight. I started to have this feeling growing in me like I just need to do more. I need to do more growing for myself. I need to push myself more. I just felt like I was kind of doing the same thing over and over and over again. And I absolutely love the opportunity that I had and all that I learned. But everyone reaches a point where um, you need to grow and do more for yourself, and sometimes that means jumping ship and kind of just throwing yourself into it and figuring it out. And so that probably happened towards the end of year four, 3.5 to year four, is about when that happened.
Okay, got it. So, was there anything holding you back, or were you fearful of anything on going on your own?
Oh, of course. I mean, going from having everything paid for and just having to close deals, to now having to pay for overhead myself and marketing expenses and really take on that risk myself was the fear. Really, is it going to work? Is it not going to work? There's a lot of doubt that goes through your mind. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean that's always seems to be the like we have a mutual friend Adam in town. I know he was right around that same kind
Hmm.
of mindset of like what happens if I go and take that jump and suddenly now the leads aren't coming in, but now I've got all this overhead, and
Exactly.
it's the difference between an employee and a literal business owner. Like you have to take on all
Hmm.
these responsibilities. So you've been doing it on your own for how long now?
I'd say about 3, 4 months now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's
Hmm.
been that experience? Have those fears come to life, or has it been able to be put to the side?
Not at all like I expected. When I made the jump, it felt super natural. Like this is what I should be doing because every day, I'd wake up and it was like, okay, what do I need to do for me today?
Mm.
It wasn't about someone else or someone else's business or leads. So that was really, really awesome. And yeah, sorry, there's like a lot of noise going on over here.
That's
Um,
okay. We can't hear it.
okay, perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. So you said, you're now thinking for your own and what you need to do for yourself. What kind of things do you think about now when you wake up, uh, for working for yourself instead of for someone else?
Yeah, it's what do I need to do today to get more deals, get more leads. It's working with my virtual assistants, looking at different markets, different business opportunities. I'm really getting into multifamily investing now and
Mm,
out of state um, properties. Doing a lot of creative finance deals now, subject to seller financing. I'm obsessed with that. So
that's
it's
great.
been crazy. Yeah, we have multiple flips going. We're in escrow to buy some properties out of state. So
Wow. Okay, so you went from pretty much just doing, the wholesaling gig with Matt to like literally now you've got your blinders off and you're looking at all sorts of deals.
yeah, well, I think working in wholesaling for 4 years, I think it burnt me out. Like I
Okay.
love wholesaling, but like a lot of people say, it's very transactional,
Mm-hmm.
and I always want to do that. But 2021 for me is definitely the year of cash flow. I want to
That's
start
great.
creating some kind of income just coming in, so that I don't have to always be thinking about where's that next deal.
Right. Right. That's what Rich Dad Poor Dad teaches, right? It's not about,
Exactly.
getting the house and getting the paycheck. It's about, the putting the money in your pocket consistently every single month. Um,
Mhm.
so what's the one thing that you're doing right now that is most exciting for you?
I would say it's out of state. Me and my partners, we flew out to Indiana a few weeks ago to look at these properties, and that was, a weird experience in that a month ago we would not have expected to be in Indiana looking at properties, like actually there meeting people, building relationships, and so I think that's been the most exciting,
That's cool.
hands down.
Why Indiana?
Well, so as you may know, a lot of local guys here are also
Hmm.
investing in Indiana, and they kind of made me realize, me and my partner, that it's totally doable. Like there's really nothing holding you back. And they were grateful enough to share with me their contacts and who to talk to, and really I think took out like 50% of the legwork, that is involved in investing out of state. So then it just became a matter of finding the deals, which is what we're good at. So it just made it super easy.
So, and from what I know about Indiana, it's more about the cash flow than it is the appreciation. Is that right?
Yeah, well, yes, yeah. So, property prices are cheap. Like our duplex, we're getting in for 35 grand. Um,
That's nothing.
Cash flow is like 1150 a month.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the seller's even going to manage it for a year for us. So we talked him into that. That was cool. And then we're looking at another 4 units, actually 8 units too. So
Jeez.
it's yeah, real
Yeah.
cheap.
Well, I think that's a whole other topic on its own, but I don't want to get into that right now. I want to keep focusing on this this idea of you getting out and doing it on your own. So you told me before we started that you've learned more in the last 3 months than you had in the last 3 years. What's been the difference in just the learning curve that you're now having?
Doing it for myself again,
Yeah.
like waking up and doing what I want and what I need to do for myself. And you know, it's no longer just acquisitions and closing deals. It's everything. And so I've just, by throwing myself into it, I've learned more than ever. Running numbers for one person versus running numbers for myself, it hits differently. Like
Hmm.
I'm doing it for myself now, so it sinks in more. I get things more now, versus before. I don't think things really sunk in as far as like how to run numbers on certain deals. But now that I'm doing that for myself, like it clicked super fast, and
Okay.
so the growth rate's just been exponential.
Okay. So, we talked about this mindset of waking up and doing it for yourself. And then we also talked about when you were working for someone else, you don't have to worry about overhead. But what is one other thing that maybe you didn't think about when you started doing this for yourself that you're like, oh wow, I'm spending a lot of time on this, and I guess I didn't really anticipate that, or maybe even not a lot of time, but you're just like, this was something that I just didn't anticipate. Um, what is there anything that comes to mind for that?
I'm trying to think, Kyle. There hasn't been a ton of surprises. I
Okay,
mean,
that's good.
a lot of issues people run into is needing private money. We've been able to figure that out.
Were you doing any of that with Matt?
Matt had the relationships and the contacts, and so he had all our deals funded. by other
And so
people.
you
So
didn't have to raise any money when you were with him.
no, because
Okay.
Matt, yeah, Matt was doing
So
that all.
so talk about that. I mean, to me, that's a big thing. You see someone that's doing it, and then you never really learn how to do it. That to me would be a big intimidator. Is now trying to have to go and raise money on your own. Has that been a struggle, or have you been able to do that?
A little bit, but we managed to get it figured out, and that's where my partner, Nico, has really helped out because I'm definitely more of an integrator,
Mhm.
a systems guy, and he's a much more outgoing go-getter. He'll talk to anybody, so he's really been able to utilize his contacts to generate money, as well as some personal relationships. Um, so it's been a real great, yin and yang dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think too, we talk about all the time. If you don't feel that you've got to strengthen something, or if you don't want to have a strength in something, you bring in someone that does have that strength. Um, so that's cool to hear that you're doing that now. When it comes to what you see for the future, I mean, you've been able to jump into a lot of different things in just 3 or 4 months of doing this on your own. You said 2021 is all about cash flow. Uh, what about beyond that? Like, what is the empire that you're trying to build up right now? What does that look like?
I think it's really just a lot of cash flow. I mean, for me, and like a lot of people, I just want to be able to, experience life and not be held back by the limits of money and that sorts of thing. So, just investing in anything that can create cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of real estate, I'm interested in the Amazon business. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm messing around with that. Um, I'd love to to help people, and in real estate and give back as much as I can. But really, it's ultimately just to create cash flow as much as I can. Um, that's really it. It's simple.
Is there a number that you have in your mind of how much you want to make per month?
I I yeah, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, and just keep going up from there.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't want to ever stop.
Yeah. Have you identified what that reason is for you?
Yeah, again, it's just back to not wanting to be held back by limits of money. I want to be able to go and see all there is in the world and experience all there is to experience. And it's hard sometimes when you have to worry about being tied down to an office and
Mhm.
working. And if you're just wholesaling, you know, you're just wholesaling. You don't have any cash flow coming in. And so for me, that's just the biggest reason.
So in these 3 to 4 months of being able to start establishing this and building up some cash flow already, is it exciting to see how quickly you've been able to move and what that means for the timeline of reaching that 10, 15, $20,000 per month?
It's made it much more attainable in my mind, and realistic. I mean, it's just like doing these few deals in Indiana have made us realize like this is almost easy.
Yeah,
It's like game on, and there's no limits, there's no ceilings to it. So,
that's awesome. So Chase, what's a way or two that people can get in contact with you?
yeah. So Instagram at Chase Deals, and then my email is ChaseInvest with an S at the end at gmail.com. If you want to email
Awesome.
me.
Cool. Well, hey, this is super inspiring, especially for some of our audience that are younger or even just younger in real estate, being able to see that, you've been able to go and do this with someone and get that quote unquote bachelor's degree by working side by side with someone and getting paid for it and then going out and doing it on your own. So what's one thing that you want to leave our audience with today, that might be out there and just saying either maybe they're just thinking about getting started into real estate, or they're kind of in your shoes where they're like, hey, I've been doing this with someone and maybe it's time for me to go and create something bigger for myself. What do you have to say to them?
Yeah, well, the biggest thing is that I've learned through experience is taking action, and I know it's cliche, but I'm one to spin my wheels and want to wait until things are perfect before making any kind of leap or implementing anything. And
Right.
I've learned that you just need to get it to where you want it a little bit and put it into play, whether it's implementing a new system or it's going out on your own and making that leap. You need to trust the process and stay consistent. And I mean, it's simple, but that's the number one thing that I think, why I've been successful.
That's awesome. So good, man. Hey, thank you so much for helping our audience to be able to conquer the world of investing today. Appreciate you being on, Chase.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks, Kyle.
All right, show notes for this one. You can probably already guess it, fearlesskyle.com/Chase Hancock, Hancock. And I just love all the things that Chase had to share here. And really, again, it was just getting past that fear of wondering, hey, if I have overhead and now I'm in charge of my own future, and sacrificing really the salary plus the commissions that he was making over with Matt. That's a scary thing to walk away from. And I know a lot of you probably are in that same position. Maybe you've built yourself up in a business that is, paying you a lot. And you're like, wow, I really love doing this and I love what I built, but I really need to go build something on my own now. But that's a scary thought. Well, Chase was able to jump ship, and in 3 short months, he's been able to do bigger things than he ever thought he could do possible. And I can't wait to see where he's at in 3 years. He'll probably well surpass most people here that he's doing work with. I'm just excited for the guy. So I hope you got some value today out of this. And once again, the show notes are fearlesskyle.com/Chase Hancock. And make sure you go check out all of our resources for Airbnb and all of our past episodes on fearlesskyle.com. Thanks for allowing us to help you to conquer the world of investing today. We'll see you next time.